Well, good afternoon, SLAE family. I am thrilled to introduce you to somebody very special today, and she is our first guest from Greece. I'm so excited about that. In addition to that, God bless her, it is midnight in Greece right now. So I have to say she is one of our more brave, adventurous people daring to do an interview at midnight, and I appreciate her greatly. Today, you're going to not only learn some wonderful things about conservation and our environment, but I think a real example of how one woman, one person can make a difference globally. And she is doing exactly just that. So without any further ado, I'm very excited to introduce you today to our guest. And that is, I'm going to pronounce this hopefully correctly, Dr. Aliki Panagopoulos. I've been practicing and practicing. Hopefully that wasn't too bad. Anyway, thank you so much for being here. And could you start off? We're going to talk about sea turtles, the environment, global impact, but it's such a fascinating thing that you got into. And I would love for you to share, because when you told me, I thought it was such an interesting story, what you studied for your education and how you ended up going down this route.
So I studied French language and literature. That's what my bachelor's degree is on. And when I passed my final course, which meant basically that I was graduating, I decided to go on a holiday. But I did not want to go somewhere and fry. And I was already involved with Greenpeace. So I used the opportunity to join a turtle conservation project. And I went there thinking that, well, it's only a ferry away. If I don't like it, I can always take that ferry and go home. And it is a ferry that I never actually embarked on. So I stayed on and I came back, and then I came back for an entire season, and then I came back again, and then I realized that I hadn't done anything in my life for this long and with this much dedication. Therefore, that was what I wanted to do in my life. So I got a job with Archelon, the Sea Turtle Protection Society of Greece. And I ended up running all conservation projects in Greece, which essentially meant all sea turtle conservation in the country. And after that, I met Dr. Spotilla, who was involved at the Leatherback Trust and had a lot of respect for Archelon. We are actually sister organizations. And he invited me to join him at his university in Philadelphia for a PhD in environmental science, which is what I did. And when I finished that, I ended up working for the Leatherback Trust as a conservation scientist. So now I am a conservation scientist for the Leatherback Trust, a science director for Archelon, the Sea Turtle Protection Society of Greece, and at the same time I serve as a regional vice chair for the Mediterranean for the Marine Turtle Specialist Group, which is a special group part of IUCN.
It's amazing. So you are now back in Greece, but you are still tied to the work that you're doing here in the United States with the Leatherback Trust, but you're still part of Archelon. And
yes,
my Greek accent is the worst. I'm so sorry. And then you're also involved in the European Union. So you're really doing that. And my understanding is that some of your work with the Leatherback Trust also extends out into Costa Rica. Is that correct as well?
Exactly, yes.
So you're hitting a lot of countries at the same time, my dear. And you're doing it from the beauty of Greece. I will tell all of you who are watching from the US today.
Yes. Some people call me octopus because I have tentacles all over the place.
It is snowing here and freezing cold. And Aliki told me that she was swimming today. I'm quite jealous. So you've got the best of all of it. Now, you have developed an incredible passion and work commitment to saving turtles, which are just phenomenal, majestic creatures. And I know that you love that, but we also had a conversation that I thought was really powerful, where you talked about how when you save the turtles, you save the world and the impact it has. And slowly but surely, if you could break down, we went through several categories, and I thought it's fascinating because on the surface, it's easy to just think about the turtles, which are a great cause in themselves. But could you share with the viewers today, what are the other impacts that have when you help this cause?
Well, sea turtles is what is called a flagship species, which means that it is a species that can be used to promote the good environmental status of wildlife and the natural environment. Also, people need to remember that when you start from I like the environment, I care about the environment, and actually coming down to do something about it, you focus somewhere. With me, it happened to be sea turtles. It could have been monk seals, it could have been whales, but it was sea turtles, and I got into that, and I gave it my all. And if you think about what is needed to save the sea turtle populations, the leatherbacks in Costa Rica, the loggerheads in Greece, the olive ridleys in Latin America, the green turtles in Brazil, anything, you see that you are dealing with some of the most serious problems that the planet is facing. We have urban development that is destroying coastal environments, the nesting beaches for turtles. We have marine pollution, including plastic. Plastic ingestion is a major threat for sea turtles. They cannot digest it. You have overfishing, and one major threat to sea turtles is the impact of incidental capture in fishing gear. You have climate change. Climate change is going to affect. So if you manage to protect the turtles, you're actually saving the world. That's why we have this motto saying, save the turtle, save the world.
It's really incredible because just your one passion is that's a lot of things you went through, from urban development, overfishing, all the different pieces that you talked about. And I think sometimes people get excited about doing something to help, and they don't realize the butterfly effect or the compound effect. Like when you do one piece, how other things are going to be impacted. Now, you do a lot of work with all of that. And I thought it was also interesting, the reporting system that you shared with me that you do with Europe. Would you mind taking a few minutes and explaining that as well?
Yes. Well, let me begin by saying that the European Union has two types of legislation. One of them is the European Union Directive. A directive is a piece of legislation that is created, but the member states are given a certain period of time to integrate it into their national legislations. Some of the most important directives are playing a key role in the protection of natural environment in Europe. For the marine, in our case, I am involved in the implementation of two directives. One is the marine strategy, which has as a target to secure a good environmental status for the marine waters that are part of the European Union. To achieve this, you have to use certain indexes, and sea turtles are selected as an index. So the good environmental status for sea turtles is one index indicating how the European Union is doing towards achieving its goal. So I'm involved in writing up reports and making assessments on the status of turtles in Greece. Another thing is, which is also very important, is the Natura 2000 network of protected areas, which is a directive, the so-called Habitats Directive. This is kind of the equivalent of the Endangered Species Act in the United States.
Yes. With
the main difference that besides priority species, it incorporates in priority habitats. So areas that have priority species and priority habitats in higher concentrations are selected for and made a part of the Natura 2000 network. And each member state has to protect them, establish some kind of protection status, and Greece has to submit, as a member state, has to submit a report on the status of these species every 6 years. So I'm involved in monitoring activities that are used for the report on the status of turtle populations in the European Union.
It's really incredible that you can be all over the world doing this. I mean, you truly are. And I love the fact that you also are helping people to get educated about the problems and even small lifestyle things that they can do to be involved. Obviously, I don't think there's any organization that's for conservation or helping animals or the environment that wouldn't happily accept a donation. But there are things that we do every day that can have a helpful or negative impact. So let's take a few minutes now. If you could, first of all, and we'll post this stuff below the interview when we're finished, but I know that there are ways people can learn. You have a website, you have a YouTube channel. Could we start with those things first, please?
Yes, well, for education, we have our website, we have a YouTube channel. Both organizations actually we have our Facebook page. And from there on, it's up to the person. There are books like my mentor and boss, Dr. Spotila, has written a wonderful book about the sea turtles.
Okay.
One is about the biology. The other one is called the Saving Turtles. And he gives a lot of the background and history and the stories related to humans that have, to people that have worked and have achieved things in sea turtle conservation. For example, how it was found out that the sex of hatchlings is determined by temperature. Higher temperatures produce more females, lower temperatures produce. So
really?
he was involved in the discovery of that. He is discussing the story behind a great campaign called the Great Turtle Race, where big corporations and groups, companies, I would say, gave $25,000 each to adopt a turtle that was satellite tagged from Costa Rica to the Galapagos, which is their main foraging areas. And some research was used to raise awareness and make a lot of, and it funded a lot of research as well.
That's amazing.
Like, these are a few things. It's up to whoever is interested to learn as much as they can. Yes. And I want to mention that depending on what stage of your life you are and how much time you have available and what you can, sometimes what you can do is make a donation. Sometimes what you can do, especially younger people who are students and do not have, they can donate their time. So it's up to a person, depending on what life stage they are, and to do what they can. But you live from just about from knowing to caring to actually doing something. Yes,
yes. Now you mentioned, that's really wild about the gender. That's so interesting in the temperature. But you mentioned a few things. So we'll post book names, websites, etc. But in one of our conversations, you also prior to today, you shared with me a little bit about straws. And this may seem crazy,
yes.
But I would really like, this is such a tiny thing that somebody could do. So if you would teach people about the impact of that and a small lifestyle change that would help people, that would be great.
So the Leatherback Trust was involved in a video that has gone beyond viral. It has something like 27 million views on the internet. It's maybe some of people watching us today have seen it. It's from a researcher removing a straw from the nostril of a sea turtle that was pulled on board to be studied. So our researcher, Nathan Robinson, removed the straw. And it became part of a huge campaign by Chris Figener. And it literally, how do you say it, raised some waves. And there is a huge trend now to reduce, to stop using straws, plastic straws.
Yes.
So you may see more and more paper straws, or you could see people having reusable straws made of aluminum or iron, or so that was something that really, really put a dent and is passing on the message of reducing single-use plastic from our daily lives. This is a major threat. It is also for plastic bags. If a turtle sees a plastic bag in the sea, it cannot tell the difference if it is a plastic bag, therefore trash, or a jellyfish, which is a major part of its diet, and it will eat it. And the difference is that it cannot digest it. So it clogs the digestive system, and the turtle eventually dies of starvation. So just reduce the use of single-use plastic. It's very simple.
Yeah, so if some on the little, obviously, like you said, different stages of life, people have time, people have money, but you know, everybody can make a shift like that. It's interesting because I noticed that here in the United States, Starbucks is so huge here, and Starbucks has shifted over to the paper straws instead of the plastic ones. But just overall, you know, going to the grocery store and using reusable bags, not getting those plastic ones that the grocery store gives out, all of those things, when there's millions and millions of people doing it, certainly adds up. I think it'd be great to show this video too. Yes, absolutely. So how many years has it been now that you have been the advocate for sea turtles and the environment?
I started in 1994. So that makes it 26 years.
Yes, yes, that's incredible. And I know that you have a dream, because you know, I ask everybody who I have the honor of having as a guest here, what is your dream? So if you could
to be out of a job.
To be unnecessary.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. To go back to teaching English, because I can't find a job as a turtle conservationist because turtles are safe.
If they were safe and you became your career, not you, but your career became obsolete, that's the dream, correct?
Yes, exactly, that's my vision.
And if we live long enough to see that happen, do you know what you would do?
Well, I would rest in my laurels, I think, by that time.
Enjoy the beauty of Greece a little bit more, I'm sure.
I would be swimming with turtles. I would be enjoying nature.
Yes.
Enjoying the fruits of my labor, I think.
Well, I'd also like to do a little fun fact with you today before we wrap up, because you shared something, and I know I'm dating myself. For those of you who are of this generation, you actually had the opportunity to do a little bit with Jacques Cousteau, who so many of us remember. Would you mind telling everybody your experience?
Well, my inspiration has been Jacques Cousteau. It's as simple as that. When I was little, I was watching documentaries on TV with Jacques Cousteau. I could not wait from one week to the next so I could watch these documentaries. And it's like it's burned into my brain, this image of a sea turtle swimming in the water, and it was so calm, so beautiful, and so, and that actually got me inspired into going into marine environment conservation, as opposed to doing other things for conservation. I think I would always do something in conservation, but what made the difference with marine was Jacques Cousteau.
That's so wonderful. Well, I love what you're doing, and I, you know, hope that all of us who get to the opportunity to see this can take a few minutes now before we do something and start thinking about the impact. Because yes, obviously donations and time are great, but anybody, whether you're 18 or 90, it doesn't matter. We can cut out some of the plastic that is doing so much damage. And it's heartbreaking to think of such a beautiful creature being hurt by our trash. You know, that's just very sad.
Other things you can do as well. You can consume sustainably caught fish. because overfishing is a great issue. When you go to CVS to buy fish oil, do not buy krill, because that's the food of that whales eat, for example. Just be more conscious as a consumer, what you consume and how much. And sometimes dare to make the question, do I really need this?
Yes, especially in our country, because we are high on overconsumption of everything here.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I thank you so much. It is, let's see, 20 minutes after midnight there. So I think you have done.
I was quick and efficient. That's what I have to say.
She was so kind to stay with us, Aliki. It's just really, really, really nice of you to stay up so late and educate and inspire.
Thank you
everybody.
for inviting me.
My pleasure. Honored. And for all of you who are watching, if there is something that calls to you where you sometimes feel like, well, I'm one person, how can I actually make an impact? Here you have it, whether it's your small habit or whether you take on the globe like our fabulous guest has today.
People can use the Leatherback Trust Facebook page or Arkelon's Facebook page to contact us, and feel free to share my private, my email with anyone who is interested in knowing more, or if they have any questions about anything that I have discussed today.
Thank you for your kindness. Now, the people who are watching this will see this on two formats. If you happen to be in our Facebook group, she has actually joined the Facebook group, so you could even message her through Facebook. Yes. Inside the SLAE group. And if you end up watching this on YouTube, we will post her information there so you can contact her. But again, bless your heart for all the work that you're doing and being up in the middle of the night with us and being so chipper and on the ball with everything when most people are sound asleep. But I thank you and appreciate you very much.
Okay, thank you so much. It was fun to be here.
Very fun to have you.
Okay. Take care.
We will be back next week. For those of you who have been hearing a lot about COVID, we have a special guest coming next week. She's a chief medical officer with over 30 years of experience as a physician, and she's going to give us the down and dirty nitty gritty about Omicron. Like, what is going on with that? Everyone's talking about it. There's so many conflicting things that were being fed through the media. So we're going to be live with her next week, and you will be able to post questions that she will respond to as well. So again, Aliki, thank you so much. Get a little sleep, and we will see you all live next Tuesday. Take care.
Take care.